This is a quick video on different types of chemical reactions. You guys read section 2 last night, and just wanted to point out a few things that may not have jumped off the page at you as you were reading. So the first type of reaction is called a synthesis reaction. And a synthesis reaction typically involves two reactants, represented by the A and the X here, and one product. And those reactants are typically an element plus an element, and that produces some kind of compound. Now, we've been looking at these already, but we haven't called them chemical reactions, and we certainly haven't called them synthesis reactions. When we've taken a metal plus a non-metal, we have called that an ionic compound. And so we've been doing synthesis reactions all along, just not really calling them that. The second type of reaction is kind of the opposite of a synthesis reaction. A decomposition reaction starts with one product or one reactant, and it produces more than one product. And so we would say that this is a compound as the reactant, and it will decompose to form, sometimes it's two elements, doesn't have to be two elements. It could be an element and a compound, right? As it says down here, A and X can be elements or compounds, right? A could be an element, X could be a compound, or it could even be two compounds. The key here is that there are more products than there are reactants, right? Here we've got one reactant and two products. Another type of chemical reaction is a single displacement, or sometimes called single replacement reaction. And so this one looks a little more complicated, but it's pretty easy to spot. You might have some element plus some compound here. Right? And so you can identify the type of a reaction simply by looking at the reactants. Right? And in this case, A replaces B. That's why it's called a single displacement or a single replacement reaction. We could say that A replaces B here, or A displaces B. That maybe is a better word for it, displaces, and it sounds like there's a little more action involved there. Or Y can replace X. That's not as important to notice which thing is doing the replacing, and we're not going to get into which one is actually replacing or displacing the other one. I just want you to be able to identify the type of reaction simply by looking at the reactants. Double displacement or double replacement reactions typically involve two compounds, right? It is typically compound plus compound. And we get two new compounds. All right, so A is replacing B, and B is kind of coming over and taking the place of A. And you can see that in the products that A and B have traded places. Typically, AX and BY are ionic compounds, but they might also represent molecules as well. The final type of reaction is a combustion reaction. And one of the main identifiers of a combustion reaction is oxygen being a reactant. So here on the screen, you've got two different examples of combustion reactions. One also could be classified as a synthesis reaction. But it is also a combustion reaction. I know it's a synthesis reaction because there are two reactants and one product. The other one, the combustion of propane, is a more typical or more easily identifiable combustion reaction, where there is what's referred to as a hydrocarbon, C3H8 has hydrogen and carbon in it. That's why we call it a hydrocarbon. Reacts with oxygen. It produces carbon dioxide and water and lots of heat, right? Another word for combustion is burning. And so in a combustion reaction, lots of heat must be given off. You might also recognize this combustion reaction from the lab that we did last week, where we were testing hydrogen gas with the flame. So let's do a couple sample problems here. We'll look at a couple of equations and try to identify the type of reaction. So I'll pause for a second and let you take a look at this, or you can hit pause on the video and take a look at this and see if you can identify the type of reaction. And there's the clue. Oxygen is one of the reactants, so this must be a combustion reaction. In the next example, go ahead and hit pause if you want to think about this for a minute. We have compound plus compound, and we're producing two new compounds. So this is a double displacement reaction. You can abbreviate it DD for short or DR for short. It doesn't matter to me which one you choose. Here's another example. Again, hit pause. In this example, we have an element plus a compound. And we're making products from that. And this is a single displacement reaction. And you can abbreviate that SD or SR. Either one of those is fine. And that's it for the examples. So you're going to go on now and do some practice problems, some more practice problems without me, and then we'll go over those in class the following day.